I haven't had a sip of alcohol in 44 years, so pretty much all my life. I am a Mormon. I was raised Mormon. I ain't going anywhere, and they'll have to throw me out kicking and screaming. You see, I built something that some in my church would say is a sin, a transgression. Let me explain my relationship with alcohol, why this build gets some people all riled up, and much, much more. I have 9 feet of 8-quarter walnut right here and plans that I developed that are available in the video description to build this shelf. I need to cut this up into the shelf pieces and then work from there. We're gonna make this wood look real nice because it's kind of rough for the meantime, but let's get started. A neighbor friend of mine put a bar in his backyard and asked me to build a shelf of some sorts to display decorative liquor bottles and hang wine glasses. That's the project, but there is much more if we dig deeper. I mean, why ask a Mormon to build a wine glass display? That's like asking a Jew to dig a hole in the ground so you can roast a pig. I don't know if this is making any sense, but I'm just guessing you wouldn't do that because they don't eat pork. But maybe I'm a little bit more flexible with my rigid religious beliefs. This is the bottom shelf, and we want it to be about 1 inch thick. So we're gonna resaw this down to just over 1 inch thick so we have a little room to play with. But first, I gotta change this blade out for a resawing blade. All my life, I was taught in my home and in my church not to drink alcohol. And I listened. In fact, I have never had an alcoholic beverage my entire life. Not even a sip. But that doesn't mean alcohol hasn't had a role in my life. First, for those who may not know, the Mormon religion, actually called the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or LDS, has forbidden the consumption of alcohol starting in 1921. The advisement to abstain from alcohol started in 1933, but it was only considered a word to the wise until it was officially banned in 1921. All right. Let's rip this down to size. All right, these pieces came out real nice. So I'm gonna put these to the side for right now and come back to them. There's more to do. The grain pattern though, on this piece is pretty cool. It's gonna need some sanding, and we're gonna work on these edge profiles later. Now I'm going to make the wine glass holders, and I wanted to use this piece because that's the sister piece to this one, but this is 3/4 inch, which is the perfect width or thickness, and this is a little cupped like this, so once I'm done planing it and face jointing it, I'm only gonna have maybe 1/2 inch material left over. So this piece will be used for some other project, but I did have the offcut from the whole piece, which is plenty of material to work with, fingers crossed, and we're gonna make them out of here. So let's get to this, because honestly, this is the funnest part of the project anyways. Most members of my faith, and for the sake of simplicity, we'll call them Mormon or LDS. These are widely used nicknames that my faith has recently tried to get away from. But I can't be saying members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints 25 times throughout this video, so like I was saying, most members of my faith would have no problem with this project. But Like in any sect, you have everyone from your fair weather followers to your faithful, generally faithful, to your extremists. The most extreme in my church are called the Deseret Nation. Hashtag DesNat. In fact, most Mormons probably have never even heard of this fringe group or really their way of thinking. DesNat supporters have no formal organization but share a common ideology, according to Wikipedia. To put it in simple terms, these people are very extreme when interpreting the laws and doctrines of the Mormon Church and would likely make a case against my choice for even building this shelf, calling it sinful. They remind me of the Pharisees and the Sadducees of the New Testament, who persecuted Jesus for going against the religious mores of the time. Am I worried that the leaders of my religion would kick me out or even frown upon me for building this? Not really, but in fact, my relationship with alcohol goes even deeper. This is one of these moments where I wish I had a workbench with a bunch of dog holes, but I got this nice little vise and it should work out just fine. I'm going to use my chisel and clean up these edges because they aren't exactly perfect, but I can always take away, but I can't add to when it comes to making these types of tricky cuts. So a little bit of extra effort to make these really nice. You see, my father was quite the heavy social drinker as a young adult before he became active in the LDS faith. Did he drink as a minor? Maybe even drive drunk? If I was a betting man, I'd probably say yes, but he has since passed, so I can't really grill him on all of his misdeeds. But I do know, because he told me, that his drinking got so bad that one day he literally woke up in the morning, looked in the mirror, and did not like the color of his skin, and poured all of his booze down the toilet, and never had a sip again. I'm guessing what he saw was jaundice, and his worn-out liver was trying to send him a message. Sometimes God speaks to us through burn marks on a tortilla, and other times via elevated enzymes and a stiff liver. He has those mysterious ways. I have to decide what the orientation of these boards are going to be. What's going to be the top side and what's going to be the bottom side. In the end, it probably doesn't really matter a whole lot. But I'm going to throw some mineral spirits on here, and it'll really give me the idea of what it's going to look like when it's finished. I think that's the best idea to move forward. I don't think I could go wrong with either side or either orientation, but I'm going to choose this and this to be the top side. They look beautiful. We're going to mark our areas and get prepared for the drilling. Even though my dad lost his taste for being drunk, he didn't lose his taste for the taste of beer. I can remember as a young boy, he would bring home 6 packs of near beer and drink it quite often and even share it with me. I must have been as young as 5 or 6 when I was drinking non-alcoholic beer. Not only that, but I really liked it, and still do to this day. It always seemed to be around the house growing up because my dad sold large amounts of alcohol in his bait and tackle gun store. He basically had a mini mart with a bait and tackle business and guns and ammo store all mixed into one. If you want to know more about that and a sweet custom closet build, then I'll have a link at the end of this video about how he was murdered. It's a must watch. Some say my best video ever. I've ran into a problem and made a bit of a mess around here. Here's what's going on. I have ruined 2 of these threaded inserts, and I'll get a close-up on these, but according to the Easy Lock drill chart, I need a 25 and 64th drill bit for these size inserts. And I tested them, and they work great on plywood. But I'm trying to drill into walnut, which is a harder wood, so as I'm cranking them down, they are basically getting stuck. I can't go all the way in, and I'm stripping these brass inserts. I'm just ruining them. So I stepped up to a 7/16 bit, which is 3/64 wider. And I did it on a test piece right here. and screwed in an insert, and it worked really well. I'm gonna re-drill all those holes. I'm gonna make them just a little bit wider with the new bit, hopefully keeping them center enough so that the threads will line up perfectly and there won't be an issue. Fingers crossed. Well, I think that went pretty well. Just got 3 more and see how this works out. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to take them all out, fill these with dowels, and redo it all over again. His shop was located on the outskirts of town, and in the late afternoons, the migrant farm workers would finish working in the fields and come to my dad's store to buy beer. A lot of beer. What's that, you ask? A Mormon selling alcohol? The truth is, beer sales was a good portion of my father's income. Beer sales put food on our table and helped pay the mortgage. Some in the LDS church would have a problem with this. I honestly don't think that would be a large portion, but hashtag Desnat. I think it's gonna work. It's gonna work. It's gonna work. As I'm sitting here admiring my fine craftsmanship, it just dawned on me how much of an idiot I am. I made a mistake a little bit back in the process. These pieces right here, which I'm planning on just trimming off the edge, are supposed to come back to here so that the side profile looks sharp. It's not supposed to have, they're not supposed to be this length. I don't know how I'd screwed this up, wasn't paying attention, so I'm gonna quickly make more of this, of course trim down to size. It comes all the way to the back here. And then we'll have a backing piece back here so that the glasses won't hit the wall. Let me take care of that real fast. I remember when I was one of those young, pesky Mormon missionaries going door to door in the Philippines about 24 years ago. And one of my companions shared with me that he thought selling alcohol was a sin. I didn't tell him that my dead father spent most of my life selling alcohol, but that was the first time that the concept of what my father did may have been unacceptable in the eyes of God, or at least my mission companion. We had quite a heated, spirited debate about the topic, to say the least, but I never told him about my family business because I didn't want him to feel like he had to filter his opinion, if you know what I mean. I appreciated hearing his true feelings. I'm sure my mission companion would have had even stronger feelings about me bringing near beer to elementary school. Yeah, I don't know if that would fly in today's world, but I would literally crack open a cold one in the 6th grade and drink it in class. My teacher would let us eat in class whenever we wanted it, and he just told me that as long as I didn't bring attention to my beer drinking in school, then he wouldn't tell me not to do it. I usually had it wrapped in foil, and that seemed to keep it a non-issue, just in case the principal walked in. I was like an alcoholic in training. You should have seen me ride the school bus all non-drunk like. This is my new logo that I designed. I put it on a t-shirt. If you want a t-shirt, click on the video description to the Etsy store, pick up a shirt for yourself. Leave a comment, tell me what you think of the new logo. I like it. Give me your feedback. I carried on with my non-alcoholic ways throughout my teenage years, and my other Mormon friends thought it was kind of weird and sometimes cool that I would drink O'Doul's. Near beer somehow faded out and I switched to O'Doul's, which became the first widely sold non-alcoholic beer. Or in other words, O'Doul's is what my dad brought home to drink, so I drank it too. I remember this one time, me and my buddies went to Pismo Beach like we often did just to get away for a few days, and one night we were all hanging out around the campfire just telling stories and brutally insulting each other like we always did. And I had to step out to use the bathroom, so I put down my bottle of O'Doul's briefly to take a pee. When I came back, I sat back down and started carrying on about whatever I was talking about, telling some story. And as I was waxing on, I would take the bottle almost to my lips and pause, and then keep talking and then pull it away. I was holding this bottle in my hands for some minutes, and my buddies seemed to be totally captivated by what I was saying. But they really weren't interested in anything I had to say. Their eyes would just follow my O'Doul's bottle as it came up almost to my mouth, and not taking a sip and away again. Because I was so into telling my story, I forgot about actually drinking my drink. That bottle must have nearly touched my mouth, 5 or 6 times before my buddy Paul burst out and said, "I can't take it anymore. I peed in your O'Doul's while you were gone." Initially, peeing in my drink seemed like a great idea, but when it came right down to it, humanity sank in and he just felt bad and couldn't stomach the thought of me falling for his prank. Personally, I was disappointed I hadn't thought of that prank myself. We still have a good laugh about that to this day. I don't mean to brag, but I was ahead of my time. I was drinking non-alcoholic beer way before it was cool. In the recent past, non-alcoholic beer was 0.3% of all beer sales, and now it has skyrocketed to 1.5%. Okay, maybe not skyrocketed, but that's a measurable increase, right? I mean, in some European markets, it's as high as even 5 to 10% of the beer market. And in 2021, it was estimated to be worth $16.6 billion. And in 2025, it is forecast to grow to $23 billion. Non-alcoholic beer has been the fastest growing beer category in the last 4 years in a row. In fact, there is a rising trend called zebra striping, where people rotate an alcoholic beer with a non-alcoholic beer throughout their night to pace their AVB. All those stats and my love for non-alcoholic beer aside, if I wasn't Mormon, let's face it, I would probably be way into the drinking culture. Who knows, I might even be an alcoholic, meaning I might have the genetic predisposition that makes someone likely to be an alcoholic. But I'll never know if I never try, and honestly, I can say I never will. I truly believe there is real value in abstinence. Whether or not that is abstaining from alcohol or sugar or tobacco or even just watching TV or sleeping in or missing a day of work, being 100% abstinent of anything, I think it makes you inherently a mentally stronger human being. It's about self-mastery and setting aside your natural inclinations. When we set a goal to be completely free of a certain vice, behavior, or even an outlook, we are making a conscious decision to have power over ourselves. We take control of our lives. We set aside our natural being. Too often in this world, we are told that it's okay if it's natural. If it's natural, then it must be good. This couldn't be farther from the truth and is frankly a deceptive lie. Think about it. When someone hits you, it's natural to want to hit them back. When you're looking at a donut sitting next to broccoli, it's naturally to want to reach for the donut instead of the broccoli. And when you're scrolling through looking for a podcast to listen to and are lured into listening to the Green Suiters podcast, it's natural to want to click on it. But just because something is natural doesn't make it the best decision. Choosing a natural path to me means choosing the path of least resistance. The greatest humans with the most amazing achievements didn't become that way because they chose the natural route of comfort and ease. They chose a difficult path and overcame obstacles despite overwhelming evidence that the odds were against them. Tesla would have gone bankrupt in 2008. Hitler's Germany would have taken over Europe and maybe the planet in World War II. And running a sub 4-minute mile would still be unthinkable if humans chose the natural path. Overall, I couldn't be more thrilled with how this turned out. I'm gonna throw a little bit of thread locker on the threads just to give it a little extra bond, put it all together, and then we're gonna bring it over to my neighbor's house and install it. So what does all this mean? Well, I don't drink alcohol. That's what I choose to abstain from, amongst other things as well. And if it's a religion that gives me the reason to abstain, then fine. But if it wasn't, that would be okay too. And you might have your reasons as well on going all in on that one thing you stay clear of. That being said, I have many friends that drink alcohol, and we go out to dinner, we watch the ball game, we meet up, and we have a great time. But not drinking alcohol, I'm sure there are some things that Mrs. Sawdust and I haven't been invited to, and although I don't like missing out on the invite, I probably wouldn't invite a vegetarian over for wing night. So I totally get it. It comes with the territory. Having said that, I sure could go for a cold one right now. Clinton, shelf's all done. I think it came out really nice. The finish was amazing with the Rubio monocoat. I was really excited to do this project for you. I gotta say, I really like it. When you're done with it, I might take it home.
No, I love it, so it's staying.
We appreciate you guys watching.
Cheers.
Cheers. If you like this video, you like another one that I made just for you right here, check it out. We'll see you next time. See ya.